and welcome to this week's episode of Cherish, Live, and Dream. We are back, season 2. Yay! I'm your host, Ya.
And I am your host, Jai.
And we are your hope dealers. So listen, this week we have a special guest. We are excited. Our fitness guru, yes, extraordinaire, Tyre'k Jones. He has agreed to allow us to, just have this opportunity with such a famous person. I'm just so elated. So we're going to get into this, guys. Without further ado, welcome, Tyre'k. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So listen. So the first question I have for you is, how did you get into the fitness industry?
First, I want to say you ladies are too kind. I don't think I deserve all that accolade hype, but but I appreciate the warm welcome. How did I get into fitness or health and wellness? It's a $1 million question. It was definitely something that wasn't set on my bar for like, this is what I want to be when I grow up. But I was heavily into football. Maybe like my teenage years. So I got to a point where I was working out pretty hard around age 20, and it kind of stuck with me. And when I transitioned from Halifax County to the Raleigh area, I met a lot of new friends. Some were into fitness, some had personal trainers, some was collegiate athletes. So being around that company got me back into the fitness side of things, because at one point I went without working out. And when I met my new friends, I kind of got a love for it again. And eventually, after I got all my results back and things like that, people was referring people to work out with me. They was asking me questions. They was calling me a trainer before I became a licensed trainer. So after a while, after hearing it for so long, I stopped for a moment and gave it some thought. And I said, maybe I'm hearing this for a reason. I said, well, if one more person calls me a trainer, I would take it as a sign from God, and I will proceed with it. And that's what happened. And the rest is history.
Yeah, because, when I met you some years ago, you was a little Slim Jim. You was skinny.
You was skinny.
You remember I had you carrying that big old chair up the stairs? So yes, I'm so glad. But even then, you were good looking then, skinny, but now you just So anyway, let me continue on. Right. So you kind of answered this question, but so it didn't just happen. You said you started when you were 8 and then you kind of fell off. So what happened when you fell off? Was something going on in your life? Did something happen that said, let me stop, let me refocus? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
No, nothing traumatic or anything like that happened. It just was that I just had a weight set at home, and I was working out a lot because it was there. Then I set out to pursue my life in school. So that's when I moved. And when I left from the equipment, it just wasn't a drive to really go at it like that. In the back of my head, I always still wanted to be strong, but the actions of doing that wasn't a priority then. So I was doing other stuff. And then it just eventually came back around, when I got around the company that I was around, and I started thinking like, yeah, I kind of actually miss doing that, so it would be nice to get back in and do it again. So to help spark that up, I even hired a trainer myself at the time. And we only had one session, and that's pretty much all I needed. Once I got that, it kind of helped jumpstart things. I was good to go from there. I got my mojo back, and I was full force.
Speaking of mojo, Jay, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, what you got from me, Jay? Jay just watching and listening. I want to hear from you, Jay.
Hey, so you want to hear from me?
Hear from Jay.
Yes. So, chocolate.
Listen, I thought she'd get a kick out of interviewing you
I'm just kind of
because
speechless right now because what?
you kind of her type a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make a
I'm
love
your type,
connection.
Jay? What? I'm Jay's type. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jay's type. Now I'm about to be over here blushing. Cat might get my tongue on my next question.
But you know what? I don't want to disrespect anybody that you may be dating right now, Tyre'k. But I was just saying,
I gotta make sure my wife ain't watching this video. Shoot, baby, you home? No, I'm just kidding. Turn off the TV. No,
Hey, moving right along.
I'm playing.
No, I do have a question. So where are you from? I heard you say, did you say Halifax County?
Yes, I'm from a little town called Enfield.
I've heard of Enfield. And so what brought you up to the Raleigh or Wake Forest, North Carolina area? What brought you up this way?
So during that time, I had a thing for tech. So I was kind of like a tech nerd. So I would come up with these ideas that I would like to invent, and provide to the world. So for me, at the time, the only way I know to help get closer to that was to gain more knowledge of it, of how it worked, to understand it. So I researched some schools, and I found one in Raleigh. I went there. I started studying IT, and that's what got me there.
Okay.
So I said to myself, pretty much it doesn't look like the best situation to make something happen, but I was that driven that I was willing to go full force at it anyways. So that's what got me there.
Okay.
So speaking of full force, were there ever any obstacles that you faced or had to overcome, or maybe even still be dealing with right now in terms of growing your business?
One obstacle that I came across was this was last year. Actually at a Planet Fitness where I felt I was racially profiled. I was accused of stealing someone's keys, and I was working out in the gym with a friend of mine, and a police officer approaches me. And at this Planet Fitness is it's in the Wake Forest location, and I was informed that that police department over there is, it isn't the best when it comes to minorities. So then also that area is kind of predominantly white, maybe middle class and up, or a little higher than middle class or something like that. So we're working out, and this police officer approaches me and asks if she could have a word with me. I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't think nothing of it. So she's like, did you steal anyone's keys? Or did you take anyone's keys? I was like, no. And she asked me again, and she's like, this lady said she saw you on video, and saw you on video stealing her keys or taking her keys. Then I started to think it was a joke or something. I thought somebody was playing a prank on me. So I kind of smirked at it. I'm like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? And she kept saying it. She was pretty adamant about it. So I said, if I got anyone's keys, it's my friend's keys. Like, where is she at? I'm like, she's right there. She's like, that's not the woman. So now I'm getting a little annoyed. So I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what woman? So she goes back up to the front. So I said to my friend, I said, did you hear that? I said, they claim I stole somebody's keys. She's like, what? I'm like, what are they talking about? So then I see these keys by my bag. And my friend was like, are these the keys they're talking about? And I was like, they aren't your keys? She's like, nah. I was like, well, maybe they are. I said, well, let's go up there and, take it to them. So we go up there, and we're like, are these the keys? And oh my gosh, there was like a the cop just makes a really big deal out of it. She goes, you just lied to me. You told me you didn't have the keys, and I asked you this and this, and I'm like, because I didn't know I had the keys. First of all, I was like, I said to the manager, I'm like, because he said he seen me grabbing and scoring a video, whatever. So I was saying that if you saw me do that, why did you come and say anything? I mean, we're working out. Like, evidently your keys was by stuff accidentally, and I just grabbed it. You know, and we're just working out, minding our own business. Something that happens, who knows how many times a day in a fitness center. I
Right.
was like, but instead of saying something, you go through all this nonsense and you just cause this big scene. And so they asked the lady, was she satisfied? She said no, she wasn't satisfied. And we're looking like, what do you want to be done? What do you mean you're not satisfied? And they interrogate us. We're waiting there. They call other police officers.
Wow.
It was a headache. The two male officers that came, when they found out what was going on, they had to look on their face like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, yeah, this is why she has us being held up here. And what I didn't like about the gym is, first of all, how they managed it. For us, like, not saying anything to me, taking favor on her side. They ended up revoking my membership. I didn't find that out till I went to go to another location. So I went through an embarrassment of them telling me that, and I don't know why that's even in there. Then I go to that location and talk to them about it. Then they say the same thing, like, yeah, we saw probable evidence of you. Then I'm like, well, let me see the video. Like, what is it you seeing on this video other than me accidentally grabbing her keys? I'm like, are you seeing her watching me and you don't want me to see that? And she just watching me and then going to plot something? Like, what are you trying to get done here? So I got an attorney on a case, and so she emailed them some stuff, and corporate reached back out to us. And they agreed on the video that it was by accident. It shouldn't have happened. And they wanted to get my membership back. I didn't want it anymore. So there wasn't much substance to try to really take it to court to prove race, because they didn't charge me. They just had it in their system, but it wasn't criminally charged. But it was in their system as what did they label it as? I forgot exactly what they labeled it, but it didn't sound good. You know, so
stole somebody that stole the white woman's keys.
It was crazy. I don't know if it's because of what my size looked like to her. She wants to say that, my skin. I don't know what it was, but that reminded me pretty much of the fact that when people feel they have that power over you,
yes,
they'll do whatever they want to you. I mean, because I had people reach out to me that had not good experiences from that company as well, all over. So I was like, it's not just me. They mistreat us like that a lot. So it just gave me the drive to go even harder, even more, to let people in those positions know that, I mean, we don't need you. You know, we can have our own, and we can be as sufficient as you are.
Right. It's interesting because it's usually when adversity hits, you find yourself kind of, for lack of a better word, but you're between a rock and a hard place. And so you got to figure it out what's best for you. And then you blow up like you're doing today. We're so proud of you.
I have a ways to go. I'm grateful for the present, but I have a ways to go.
Well, that's good. That's good. I think too, Tyre'k, I think what some of the issue is that we have an issue with communicating. I just don't understand why she would have felt so comfortable to go up and report you, because clearly in my mind, if you were stealing the keys, you would have walked directly out and, tried to find which car she was driving. But if you're going to continue to work out and you're laying your, cell phone down or your keys down, clearly you're just working out. So it just looks like she just wanted to have a reason to have the spotlight, on her and to cause a lot of confusion and ruckus like she did. But yeah. I'm glad know that you use that to move forward and to be able to continue to do what you love to do, and that you have a lot of people that are supporting you. And unfortunately, this is the world that we live in, and these are the kind of things that we are dealing with, but it doesn't mean that we have to continue to deal with it without speaking our minds and letting our voices be heard. So I'm glad that you stood up and you did what you had to do. And now that I know that, I guess I would not be joining another Planet Fitness. But they won't get they won't get mine $10 a month.
Listen, when I found out it happened, I went on, I was like, I know y'all didn't. I know. Now, I was a little bit more professional, but I wrote a review. I was like, no, not today.
Yeah.
So Tyre'k, I know you're talking about, how you got into it, the issue that you just had not too long ago with Planet Fitness. Like, just tell us if there's ever any ugly times where you just are like, you know what, I'm going to give up, forget about this. It's not worth it. The stress, I can't take it. God, where are you? Like, have you had any of those thoughts?
Heck yeah.
Sound like you have no way.
I had some recently, but yeah, I've been having this back and forth thing with God. It's been times where I've actually been wanting to say forget a lot of stuff, and God will not let me. So it's like a back and forth thing, because I could be like if this is supposed to be here, then why are these waves pushing so hard? To go over here doesn't make sense. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Shouldn't the wind be behind the sail so you can push it forward? I'm like, what are you doing, man? Is this building my strength to swim or something? Like, I don't know. So yeah, I've had those moments. The way I deal with it and handle them is I just try to stay optimistic. I stay calm and relaxed, and know that at the end of the day, it's all about my best interests, all for my best interests, and knowing that only assignments from God are those that truly might not make sense to the natural mind, because they're from Him and it takes Him. It can only be done with Him. And that is a sign that is from Him, and not everybody will understand it because He spoke it to you, spoke it to me. So sometimes if you share it with people, it's not going to always click, because it was, as one of my friends recently posted, that it was that everyone isn't going to understand your calling because it wasn't a conference call. So that makes a lot of sense there. It was directed to you. So that's what helps me deal with moments like that. It's that it's a sign that is from Him. And the only time it's the waves feel that intense is because you're trying to go without the wind blowing in your back, which into the sail, which is Him. So sometimes there's been times I may have had moments where I'm trying to set sail and leaving an airbag, behind. And I need to bring it. I need to bring it with me. Sometimes he sit back and watch to see how far I get. But nah, when that wind come in the opposite direction with the waves, it hit different.
Yes.
So that's how I deal with that. Just try to follow His lead, and include him.
Wow. This has nothing to do with anything, but it does. I just always wanted to know. So trainers who are as attractive as yourself, do you find it hard to get the job done when a client have you ever had a situation where you just had to work through, you know what I'm trying to say here without saying it?
Without him looking at them a certain way?
Yeah. Like when they're doing their squats, so they're doing,
Booty.
Look, how do you keep it professional?
Or do you keep it
But
professional?
Oh,
of course I do. It just one of those things where it comes to you either want food on your table or you don't.
Mm,
Like some trainers, I've heard, this may entertain a lot of their clients in another way and they end up broke. And
mm-hmm.
I mean, when clients go that direction, they feel like they don't have to pay you anymore. And I mean, cause you got to realize with money, you can still get you some action if you want to put it that way. But if you just get the action, you ain't gonna have no money, so you don't have no food on your table. You might not even have a roof, or you might not even have a marriage anymore. So it's definitely a thin line even for married people. But for me,
Oh,
I've had.
so you're not
I'm
married.
sorry.
So you're not married.
No, I'm not married.
Okay.
So for me, um, I've had some interesting situations.
I bet.
I've had some women to inquire of training, then I later on found out they didn't want training.
Mm-hmm.
Something
They were
else.
trained.
And I would, in some cases, depending upon who it is or what it is, like, because I know myself too. So if I see someone and they approach me a certain way about it,
Mm-hmm.
I would tell them that I can't train them because I know myself and I can clearly look and be like, this isn't going to work. Or it's been times where I did a house visit once and I was giving her an assessment. And during the stretching phase, she was making these noises, these sounds.
That's so thirsty. That is so. That's.
And I said to myself, I was like, this woman don't want no training. This is something. This is something else. She got something else on her mind. But at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, to sum it all up, there are, I'm sure there are some fitness professionals, that do whatever. I mean, because it's right there, and there are some who, strictly keep it business, keep it professional. And at the end of the day, is either food on your table or not. Did I answer it?
You did.
You did, and that's wisdom too. That's wisdom.
Yeah. I try to keep business and personal pleasures separate.
Yeah.
I'm like, it can either be one way. Like if we're gonna be here, we need to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be here. This is where it needs to be. So.
That's
Right.
good.
So listen, what other projects you got going on? I know you do this running thing, this biking thing. You like the triathlon man. What other stuff you got going on?
Right now, I'm working on working on more projects with companies, businesses for providing health and wellness to them, and not just on an individual basis. So right now, I'm working on wrapping things up with this company down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I'm hoping to have them to be my first official business sign on. So we've already had face-to-face discussion, and it looks good so far. So now we just gotta finalize the contract negotiation, and that'll be the start of something new. Yeah.
Start of a romance. Could this be?
Yeah.
Anyway, so listen, Tyre'k. So what advice do you have to sum up this interview for someone that's on a similar path as yours, that have dealt with some obstacles, that need to persevere? What do you have for them? What do you have to say to the people that are either listening or viewing the show today?
In times of shelter or dark moments, to listen to the voice inside. And I mentioned shelter because there are sometimes we can be in a place where something is coming down on us, and it causes discomfort. So we run or look for shelter. Even though we run and look for shelter, even though that's like a sign of, sometimes it can be distress, it could even be fear, or even hesitation. But sometimes we can be caught up in the emotional state of fear or whatever it may be that causes us to do it, that we forget that there's actually a shelter protecting us. You know what I'm saying? So I would say when you're in that place, listen to the inner voice, because the inner voice is going to help you realize, in spite of this current state, you're still covered.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That I provided something for you. So in the other in a dark place, sometimes it's kind of the same thing as a shelter. Sometimes darkness can make you feel alone. You feel like you're the only one there, but not realizing that it's a setup for a reset moment, because when the sun rises, it's a chance for you to rise up again. But when you listen to the voice, it reminds you of that, because darkness just can represent a new day sometimes for some people. But you got to realize that you got to be able to recognize it so you can stand up and rise when the sun rises up again. So the moral of all that is that even if it looks like it, I learned that we're never truly alone. We might feel lonely, but we're never truly alone, because creation lives in us, it's around. He's there, he's still guiding. Because if he wasn't, the voice wouldn't be inside of you speaking, but we pause for a moment and we hear what the heart is saying, it was him, so you just continue to do that. And, don't let anybody, tell you anything different than what you know. Follow your dream, keep going. And just know that the challenges is reason and proof that what you're doing is worth it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have those challenges. Just about every great successful person out here went through some sort of challenge. They was told no numerous times, but look where they are. And that can be you too.
You just spoke to my heart, my spirit, my mind, and my soul. Thank you, brother. I am encouraged on today. So listen, before we get out of here, how can the people get in touch with you, like on Facebook, IG? Where are you? How can we reach out to you for services? Or just for that good old inspiration that you just gave us, brother?
On the book, you can just look my personal name up, Tyre'k Jones, TYREKJONES. I made it pretty easy for anybody to find. You can Google it and take you right to it. Okay. Instagram, up under HJ Fitness Training, and also Lifestyle Results. You can find me on the gram.
Okay.
Well, they can find me through you.
Yes, and Jai. Well, listen, Jai, any final thoughts before we go?
No, this has been an awesome interview.
So we thank you. No, thank you. And of course, we're going to have you on the show again. We might even have you working Jai and I out. Well, more so Jai, because I just sit and look pretty,
I got you.
But anyway, so listen, guys, thank you for joining us for our kickoff season 2. We love you guys. Please stay tuned. Tyre'k gave you his information. If you need to get personal training services, he is your guy. So we love you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.